What up, y'all? This is Decode Dating. I am back with another video. So I've been missing, but I haven't been missing. I haven't made a one-on-one video like this in a while because I've been doing the podcast. But yesterday was Mother's Day. I usually record on the weekend, either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and I drop it the following week. So I always have videos in the stash. So if you haven't seen my podcast yet, I have 5 episodes out. Go watch them and support your boy. Um, Podcasts were good. I had a couple, of my friends and different guests on there, talk about different stuff about relationship. It's great. But today I want to talk about something that's been resonating in my brain for a while, right? And you can tell by the title of the video, women are loyal to their emotions, right? So if you're a man that dates women, you understand why women act the way they do, right? And I'll never tell a man to demonize a woman. It doesn't make any sense because they're loyal to their emotions. All you have to do is make them feel good at a certain time of their life, right? Typically, women don't care what you say. It's more so how you say it. You can say, wash out the dishes. And they'll be like, don't talk to me like I'm a maid. You can say, babe, please wash out the dishes. I'm a little tired. They'll probably do it. Even then, they'll probably find a reason to be mad at you for saying to wash out the dishes. But it all depends on the type of woman that you're with, right? So my experience in dating has been, I wouldn't say dramatizing. It hasn't been. I had good experiences. Other than that, I've noticed the most important thing, that no matter what you do, women are loyal to their emotions. So I want to start off by saying that I am not mad at the way women act. I'm mad how women perceive certain things, right? So women have an interesting mindset when it comes to certain things in the dating market, right? They don't understand that sometimes, well, I wouldn't even say sometimes, I'll say all the time, facts over feelings matter the most, right? Now, I'm not into astrology and all the star sign bullshit. Do I understand why some people believe it? Yes, it helps them process their emotions better, typically women. So they like to fabricate and be all spiritual, and all these star signs will make them rationalize their behavior for doing certain things. For instance, I'm a Scorpio, but I don't base my actions on what I do of being a Scorpio. So if I'm having a conversation with a woman, she'll instantly say, oh, what's your star sign? Why the hell does that matter? Because they want to either qualify you or disqualify you. And that's based off their emotion, right? That's just one instance what I don't like. However, there are research done by neuroscientists, and they say women often have emotional experience more vividly and longer than men do, right? So men, yes, we could be emotional, right? But we're not loyal to our emotions. For instance, um, when I talk to my guy friends, right, and I'll tell them like, "Yo, you're getting out of shape. You're getting fat. Um, you're too broke. You got to get your money up." They'll take heed to it. They'll understand what I'm saying, and I'm only telling them this so they can better themselves. But let me have a girlfriend and tell my girl, "Hey, listen, you're getting fat." Instantly, she's gonna be like, "You hate me. You don't love me no more. You're gonna cheat on me." Like, where is this coming from, right? But if you're a man that has experience, you understand like uh, their emotional part of their brain is telling them that you don't like them because you're telling them the truth. So the saying goes, some women, not all, I don't want the all police coming after me, some women rather uncomfortable, well, flattering lies than uncomfortable truths. So it's self-explanatory. They rather be lied to uncomfortably, like you tell them, yes, babe, you look fine in that dress, even though their love handles are hanging out, right? Then you tell them the actual truth. Hey, listen, that dress doesn't look good because of such and such. Now, they don't see that it's a one-on-one conversation where you're letting her know, like, hey, you don't look your best in that dress. However, I have an alternative. Put this dress on. They bypass all of that shit. They think that you don't like them and you find them ugly and a fat whale just because you told them the truth. So I always say this saying, and I've heard this before. I didn't come up with this saying, and I want people to think I did this. A lot of people want to base their reality, well, women want to base their reality off lies. So I always say, if you're asking, if you punish the truth, you're asking to be lied to, right? So I'd rather the truth and nothing but the truth because it's gonna save me in the long run, right? So there's science-based research that are facts that neuroscience studied that how women's brain process their emotion, right? So there's pros and cons. A lot of people don't understand this. There's pros and cons to a woman being loyal to their emotions. You might say, how is there pros to it? Well, I'll break it down, right? There's something called the bonding hormone, right? Oxytocin. I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. I'm sorry. I apologize. So that's the bonding hormone, right? Now, men and women both release that, especially during sex, right? But women, however, release more of it than men do. This is why men don't typically get emotionally attached during sexual intercourse. We kind of know how to detach. Now, it's different for certain men, especially men who don't get as much sexual access to the woman that they want. They'll typically emotionally bond through sex. Therefore, they're acting like a woman. However, on the back end, if everything was split evenly down the middle, women, however, tend to emotionally bond more because that chemical is being released more in the brain. I am not a psychologist, I am not a scientist, but these are facts based things that you can go research for yourself. I didn't get too in depth into it because that'd be taking a lot of time. And I didn't go to school for it, so I don't want people to say I know it all and I don't, right? But these are stuff you can easily research. So with that pair bonding chemical, that plays a big role in them reinforcing trust and emotional attachment. So men have to understand that the better you make a woman feel emotionally, the more she gets emotionally attached to you. And this is why most of the time when you're dating, women don't want to give up sex too early because, like I just said, the pair bonding hormone will get released more than it would for you. So they will get more attached. However, disclaimer, there are some hoes out there who I say their pair bonding chemical, their pair bonding hormone is fried to oblivion. They can't pair bond as much because they've been with so many different guys that have done them wrong that they don't know what they're doing anymore. However, the good women that are still left, they don't want to give up sexual access because that's their main commodity. They know deep down that's what most men want. This is why we take women out and court them, is because if they give that up too early, now they have to prove more of their worth than just sex. I don't advocate for one night stands. Well, not even one night stands, but sleeping on the first date. If it happens, cool. You made her feel safe. She got emotionally involved. She's highly attracted to you. That's cool. I'm not saying it won't work. I'm just saying after that happens and that woman is loyal to her emotions, which, the pair bonding hormone kicks in, they will start getting more attached to you. That's a pro. So I'll start with the bad news first. So let's start with the cons, right? So one con of women being loyal to their emotion is staying in an unhealthy situation. Would you want to say situation, entanglement, relationship, or marriage? Whatever the fuck it is, whatever you decide the title of that whole thing is, staying in an unhealthy one is not good. I've been there multiple times. And it's something called the sunk cost fallacy, where you invest so much into this relationship that you don't want to leave because your ROI is super low. So you're trying to stay to see if you can get some type of return. You don't want to do that. You might as well just cut your losses. Just pretend that this business you invested in went bankrupt and there's $0 left. Leave. The longer you stay, the worse it gets. You'll start regretting, you'll start resenting, and it's just bad for business. Instead of wasting your time trying to build something with no foundation, you might as well just leave, right? So that's one con. The second con, emotions can fluctuate. Now, men understand this. Um, Being that you've been with a woman for a while and say the first year is phenomenal. They usually say the honeymoon stage lasts 3, 6 months, maybe. So you've been with a year and it's phenomenal. Everything is going great. All of a sudden, the following year it comes, maybe 3 months in, and then she just starts acting different. That's her emotions fluctuating. Something in the middle of that told her brain that, hey, your emotions are not validated. They need consistent validation for their emotion. It's like putting premium gas in a car. They need that all the time. Unfortunately, sometimes you won't pick up on the cues. Sometimes women don't want to talk. They feel like you can read their mind. They're psychics, which is not okay. That's their emotional brain telling them that, hey, he should know. Sometimes we don't because we have our own problems that we're dealing with. We're not children. Sometimes I need you to talk to me and say, hey, this is going wrong. Help me. Cool, I can help. Emotions fluctuate. Pay attention to that. I'll probably give another breakdown on emotions fluctuating where you can pick up on certain cues. As of right now, this is for something else. Third, last, overshadow practical realities. So that meaning that her emotions are so high for you that she oversees the real problem in the whole relationship. Example: I've been in a relationship. My longest relationship was my marriage, my ex-wife. We were together for about 5 years. I married her within a year and a half. Long story short, we didn't work out. I was broke as a joke, you know. Yes, I would have jobs here and there miscellaneously, but I would never stay at a job. And if I did have a job, I wouldn't make that much. So there was no financial security for her. And I say, men, I'm not saying, listen, we live in America. I know it's already hard. 70% of couples split bills, right? Now, if you're a man and you're with a woman who wants to go have fun sometimes, and you guys don't have any money, um, that's gonna make her think twice. I always say men have a shot clock when they're with a woman. If you're not bettering yourself in that relationship, eventually she's gonna lose attraction. That's her emotions fluctuating. At one point you guys were on the high horse. Now you're down here with the sea lions. You get what I'm saying? So overshadowing practical realities. You don't want to be in a relationship with a woman and you're not giving her a reason to want to stay around. Just like how if you're in a relationship with a woman, I'm going to give you the functional equivalency. If you're in a relationship with a woman and she's not dishing out sexual access or she's trying to use it for monetary gain or domestic chores around the house, you don't want to be with a woman like that. You're going to look like, hey, I get sex if I take out the trash. I get sex if I clean the gutter. I get sex if I put gas in the car. This is like, no, you don't want to do that. So now you have to understand now, if you're a man in a relationship with a woman, you're not taking her out. You're not making sure she's emotionally well. You're not, doing manly things, duties around the house, working to provide. Yeah, she has all right to leave. But that's one of the cons. If she's too heavily invested emotionally, she'll look past that. Some may say this can go on the pros, but trust me when I tell you, men, you don't want to be a bum. Cool. Now, the pros of women being loyal to their emotions, right? Deep trust and intimacy. Now, this is very important if you're in a long term monogamous relationship. Now, if you're in a short term relationship, typically you don't care because once that dries up, you're on to the next one. This is for a LTR. So, her being highly emotionally invested into you in this relationship, there's deep intimacy and trust. She trusts you 100%. You could go out with the guys to the bar and watch her fight. You can go play basketball, football with the guys on Sunday. Um, she'll do stuff for you in the house. She just trusts you wholeheartedly and she knows that you got her best interest at heart, vice versa. That's one. Two, with the pros, purpose driven choices. So, like I said, with the overshadowing practical realities, this is complete opposite. Now, purpose driven choices. You guys are finding ways to strive for the better. You guys are not sitting twiddling your thumbs at home, only watching Netflix, and not trying to find ways to make more income or for the future. For the future endeavors, you guys are not setting up yourself. You're just sitting around doing nothing. Now, if you guys want kids, kids cost money. You don't want to be in the house all day, just, just lollygagging and not giving a shit about what's going on for the future. You guys setting up trust funds for your kids. You guys are planning a new business that you guys want to start. You guys are saving your money. You guys are investing your money. You guys are actually learning to use money to make more money. That's what you want in a relationship with a woman who's loyal to her emotions. You get to get her full attention focused on the purpose driven choices. And last but not least is inner sense of commitment. So that means that you guys, well, typically the woman, she understands that she has a sense of commitment. She knows that she's fully invested emotionally with you. So she's going to try to make everything work in her power, especially if you're doing what you're supposed to do. Because everybody in a relationship has their job description. You don't get in a relationship and say, hey, I'm not going to do this. No, you get in a relationship knowing that it's a consistent thing. Once you guys stay consistent, the sense of commitment, ooh, that rhymes. Once you guys stay consistent, the sense of commitment is much better, right? So she knows if you guys have a little argument. For instance, some women get upset about this, which I've heard before. Um, if you're a man and you come in, say, from work and say you have your work shoes or boots or whatever in front of the door and you leave it there and she'll trip over it, she'll get upset, which the emotional side of women will, and I think most people will. And she will understand, hey, listen, I'm going to go talk to him in a feminine, respectful way and say, hey, babe, I tripped over your shoes this morning. You left them. Can you please next time put it to the side? No problem, babe. You see how easy that is? Now, if a woman is not emotionally invested and understands that men love respect, she'll go on there, she'll probably throw the boot in your head or the shoe in your head and say, yo, I told you don't leave that shoe in front of the door. Now, guess what that's going to create? More conflict. And we don't have time for that. We want peace, not problems. So those are the pros and the cons of women being loyal to their emotions. You can have benefits and you can have no benefits. The main thing I want men to understand is to never demonize women for being who they are. Adapt, like how women have to adapt to their environment, you have to adapt to female nature. Don't get mad at it. Learn ways to fix what you want in that relationship, whatever woman that you're dealing with, because all women come with emotions. You do come with emotions also as a man. I don't advise men to be overly emotional because if you're in a relationship with a woman and you're just like her, she might as well just go date a woman, bro. You know what I'm saying? So those are my few things. These are all science-based facts. I don't like speaking out of my ass and just making up stuff. Yes, I have my own anecdotal evidence of me being with different women and experiencing different emotions from women. But at the same time, you don't want to get a woman who's just unhinged and will blow you guys up in the car or the house because she's upset. You don't want that. So identify these things, understand that you dictate how she acts emotionally. You can suppress a woman's emotion because you're the masculine and she's the feminine, and you could use it to your favor. Focus on the pros, identify the cons, fix it. And I did like when I say, if you stay consistent, sense of commitment, that's bars right there. That is bars. But anyway, that's my video on women are loyal to their emotions. Um, yeah, use these tools. Hope in a relationship, understand that men and women are not the same. If any woman is watching this, please understand where I'm coming from. I am not mad at the fact of how you guys are created. That's fine. I adapt to it now. I am not mad at how women act with their emotions. Men, do better, be better, and then the world will be a little better place because we got a lot of other bullshit we got to worry about. Until next